just from falling close to the ground. Perish or try to fight it, parachute now. Last chance, the final moment, parachute now and deliver us to the ground. I wanna pull the string, on and on I feel the speed. Too far to break from pressure, too much to bear.
Welcome everyone to episode 51 of the Chris Perish podcast. My name is Chris Perish, and I want to thank my sponsors down at the top of the screen, Turnbuckle Studios. Yes, that's right. Turnbuckle Studios, proud sponsor of the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program, where you can also become a member of the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program by just clicking the link down below at affiliationprogram.my.canva.site. Good afternoon, Chris Best. And then you can also check out Rogue Energy, where you can check out all the beautiful flavors. I love the blue raspberry. I love also the strawberry kiwi. I love a lot of beautiful flavors there at Rogue Energy, but I also love saving money. And I can offer you 10% at checkout if you just use the promo code PERISH, PERISH. That is right. And we have a great show today for you because we are going to talk a little bit more about the United States Women's Championship. Why? Because we got a tournament underway just as recently as Friday Night SmackDown 48 hours ago, where Bayley defeated B-Fab and Candice LeRae in a triple threat to advance, because this tournament is 4 triple threat matches where 2 winners will face each other in a semifinals match on each side, with those winners facing off at Saturday night's main event to distinguish and earn that amazing championship, but become the inaugural Women's United States Champion. And if you guys were wondering, well, and girls, but if all y'all were wondering who's all in this tournament, well, as I just said, Bayley defeated B-Fab and Candice LeRae. She will take on the winner of the Bianca Belair, Chelsea Green, and Blair Davenport match, while on the other side, we will see Jade Cargill going up against Meechin, going up against Piper Niven. The winner of that will take on the winner of Naomi, Elektra Lopez, and Tiffany Stratton. As we have Bobby Petito also coming in saying good afternoon. And I just want to point out both Chris Bass and Bobby Petito are watching from that YouTube. So if you want, make sure that you're going in and you're hitting that like, that subscribe, hitting that thumbs up, hitting that alert button to make sure that you guys know everything that is going on every time I'm coming on your screen, every time I'm going live. Also want to give a shout out to Bobby B49 and Chris Holt on the Instagram Live. Thank you so much. If you guys want to just talk with each other, engage in the comments, please do so. I encourage you, just be polite and just be respectful of everyone. I will mute you, ban you if you're being rude or just ignorant in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, talking a little of the Women's United States Championship, because I'm getting excited for this. It's the first ever mid-card championship on the Raw SmackDown side of things, the main roster, as you will. But what is amazing about this is every female in this tournament is a SmackDown superstar. They are assigned to the SmackDown brand. So any confusion or any narratives that we were hearing about whether or not this championship was going to be between both Raw and SmackDown, whether or not we were going to see a Women's Intercontinental Championship, just really what was going on, that was squashed when the participants were announced, and they were all members of the SmackDown brand. Bobby coming in and saying it was nice to see BFAB getting an opportunity to wrestlers in a triple threat match against Bayley and Candice LeRae on SmackDown. And Bobby, you are correct. And actually, I was reading up on, I think it was Wrestle Talk, the website, was reporting that BFAB is getting a lot of praise backstage, as she is getting nothing but rave reviews, and the support she's getting just from the higher ups, from the wrestlers in the back, is actually very large. So BFAB turning some heads, improving and impressing her fellow colleagues and her bosses. So good job for BFAB, and I'm very happy to see, because she's someone that when she was called up with Hit Row, a lot of people weren't sure what she was going to do or how she was going to be used. And then all you've been seeing through her time on the main roster now, with that transition to with the Street Profits, Bobby Lashley at the time, you're just seeing improvement bit by bit. And then now you're seeing someone who's very confident and very much at the top of her game so far. There's still a lot that she's capable of. And yes, as everyone is saying, Bobby, yes, she has been training with Natalya. Natalya does such an amazing job of taking other people under her wing and helping them out, offering that extra bit of training. Angelo Dawkins is another one who makes that trip and puts in the work. So no surprise to me that both BFAB and Angelo Dawkins have been getting praised, but specifically BFAB, because I think the perception of BFAB from her initial call-up to present day was a lot more different than Angelo Dawkins. So congratulations to BFAB, and I'm very excited to see what she's capable of doing moving forward. But it is Bayley who advanced, and I'm very interested about this, because I do have a little theory, and please let me know what all you guys are thinking of in this tournament. But I have a feeling we're going to see a little bit of chaos in terms of these triple threat matches. Yes, there are 3 participants in each match, but we have the Candice LeRae and the Bayley, the Bianca and the Jade Cargill and the Tiffany Stratton and Naomi, and all these people are rumored to be somewhat tangled around the women's WarGames match. Bayley might not be the person involved, but her name is kind of circulating around a lot, as she's tied in with, obviously with Naomi. She's, has history with just about everyone in that match. So because of this, I do think we're going to see a lot of involvement from other participants in these matches. Pretty much, I'm expecting somebody like Nia Jax to get involved in costing maybe Naomi the match, allowing Tiffany Stratton to win in her triple threat. I do think that is very plausible, as we saw Nia Jax defeat Naomi in the main event on Friday at SmackDown with help from Candice LeRae, help from Tiffany Stratton, as we also saw Bayley, because Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair were taken out backstage. So I do think Nia Jax is going to help Tiffany Stratton win this match. And Bobby, that's exactly where I was going with it. I do think we're gonna see Liv Morgan and Raquel get involved with the Bianca and Jade matches, and I think that's going to allow the story of Raquel and Liv try and go after the tag titles a little bit more. And because of that, I do see Chelsea Green and Michin coming out in their respective triple threat matches, setting up a semifinal match of Bayley and Chelsea Green on one side, with Michin going up against Tiffany Stratton on the other side. And because I do see a little bit of perhaps a feud brewing between with Bayley and Tiffany Stratton, I do put those two at heads as trying to take away the opportunity of one another. And because of that, I do have Chelsea Green taking on Meechin in the finals. And that is going to be the match that determines the first ever United States Women's Champion at Saturday night's main event. And because of that, with the inclusion of Piper Niven being always in the corner of Chelsea Green, I do think this is exactly just how I would book it. Not what it's probably not going to go as what I say, but I do think what we're going to do is what we're going to see, or how I would book it, I guess, is that we do that old-fashioned Piper Niven tries to get involved. The referee catches very early on, does the big dramatic, "You're out of here," and then all of a sudden Chelsea Green does her little spaz attack in that ring. But then we get down to a very honest one-on-one matchup between Chelsea Green and Meechin. And this is going to be, in my opinion, the breakout match for both Meechin and Chelsea Green. And we're just going to get a really good match to determine that first and inaugural U.S. champion. And I have Meechin coming out on top, defeating Chelsea Green and getting her hand raised, getting that championship around her waist. Meechin, my prediction for that Women's United States Championship. Let me know in the comments what you think and how you would book it, because I think this is going to be an absolutely fantastic tournament. And what I love about this is right now, yes, we got nothing but SmackDown participants in this match. We know the time and place where the champion is going to be crowned, as we have Andre C coming in. Hey buddy, back. How are you doing? You can go check out Andre over at our local establishment with all his stuff, especially the Friday with that Japanese wrestling thing. So go check him out. Go say hi. Subscribe to that YouTube channel of his as well. Just like Chris Best, just like Bobby Verdino as well. Here we support everyone. Bobby coming in saying, I like that we could potentially get Bayley versus Chelsea Green. Me too. And I think this is going to be a fantastic match. And I think if that's the match we get, I'm all for it as well. Because why not? Why not give us some of these matches that, the fans want to see? The matches that I think the wrestlers themselves want. So it's going to be just fantastic. But in regards to the timing of this United States Championship tournament, we know the place where we're going to see the first champion. Saturday night's main event is the place where the champion will be crowned. And what I like about this is that it gives time for WWE to focus on just introducing this championship with nothing else clouding it. It's going past kind of WarGames. And just when WarGames is finished, we're still going to get focused on this championship. And then after that, that's when I assume WWE is going to introduce the Women's Intercontinental Championship for Raw. That way they can introduce both championships on their own accord without anything overlapping, without any confusion. That championship gets its own time in the spotlight, and I think that is the right thing to do. And I'm very excited to see if that is the case. That's how I personally would do it, because I like the fact that right now we can get giddy, we can get excited, and we can just get our teeth sinked into this tournament, and we don't have anything else clouding our opinions, because it's just focusing on that. Let me know what you guys think. That's obviously my opinion, but I know everyone else probably has different ones, and I'm very excited to hear it. So let me know what you think. And Bobby coming in saying it would be a fresh matchup too. Yes, and I think that's the beauty of this mid-card championship. I really do. We're going to see different matchups. We're going to see more feuds. We're going to see more storylines on the women's side. So it is going to be nothing but absolutely fantastic to see. And I can't wait for that to just happen. Andre coming in saying, reaching for U.S. champ. with the exclamation point. I like the way you think, buddy. I like it. But yeah, no, it's the only criticism I have is I don't like the current U.S. title, and I really wish they would have something a little nicer. I'm not a big fan of the overall image, the 3D thing. I mean, I have a child with toys, and it has that pointy center in the middle as well. Kind of reminds me of that. But then again, I'm just happy. At the end of the day, I'm just happy that the U.S. Women's Championship is now a thing. We can talk about it. We can talk about all the other members of the women, because SmackDown and Raw, even NXT, just have a huge pool of talent when it comes to the women, and they need representation on TV. And this championship is a good starting point for that, especially since Raw was brought down to 2 hours. Now that SmackDown's only 2 hours. So there's a lot less time given to these types of feuds, these types of situations. And I think the women got the short end of the straw here. But with Raw and SmackDown moving back up to 3 hours in 2025, again, I think this is just going to be fantastic news for all these women to get more of a spotlight, more eyes on them, and just more opportunity for them to showcase why they deserve to be on the top of the card. And I really hope we're going to see moving forward a U.S. women's title match, main event, a PLE, main event SmackDowns, Raws, all that in the future. And I think that's going to be very fun to watch. And what I'm also thinking, what we're going to see as well, I think this is really just and maybe it's not the catalyst, but maybe it is. But it's definitely a strong piece in the overall picture to, I think we're going to get Evolution 2 closer and closer. I think we're just getting closer to that. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun, especially why not have like a Night of Champions. But now you can make that almost a 2-night thing, because one night you can just do women matches. You can do a women's U.S. title match. You can do women's tag. You can do NXT women matches. You can do, obviously, your main champions. And then if Raw does have that women's Intercontinental champion, there you go. And it could just be an absolute, just a spectacle of nothing but women championship matches. And what a spectacle that would be if we got something along those lines. And Bobby Cummins saying, imagine in the future we see NXT wrestlers get called up to the main roster and go after new mid-card championships. Well, yeah, but they can also go after the Women's North American Championship as well in NXT. And I do think the success so far of that championship is a huge reason why we are now talking about a Women's United States title in the first place. Kalani Jordan did an amazing job as that inaugural champion. And then when you looked kind of as that progression and how more we were seeing that being a staple of the show, and then we saw Kalani Jordan in the ring with Julia, Stephanie McHugh, and even Jordan Grace, just in that main event with that big tag match that they have, like, she is now in that picture with everyone. So the jumping point for Kalani Jordan was that U.S. title, or was that North American title. And look at what that could do for someone, elevates you. I know at the time, not a lot of people had Kalani Jordan pegged to become that champion, but she won the championship and then she got elevated. Imagine what that could do for somebody like a Michin, a Chelsea Green, a B-Fab, a Candice LeRae, anybody who is not necessarily in that major title picture already. Imagine what that could do for the future of your women's division. And Bobby, you said it, fresh matchups. And I think that's exactly what this title and these opportunities provide for not only the show, not only for the company, but for us, the fans, and us, the viewers. I think it's a wonderful thing. So yeah, let me know kind of your thoughts. I know on the Spotify question of the week, I'm going to put who do you think is going to win the inaugural Women's U.S. Championship? And I will put the 4 names that I predict to be your final 4 in the tournament: Chelsea Green, Bailey, Tiffany Stratton, and Michin. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'll even put a thing for other in case you guys disagree. But if it's other, make sure on that you let me know who that other is. So yeah, very, very exciting news. And I think there's a lot more too. What we saw on SmackDown, we saw Roman Reigns. Before we get there, Chris Best coming in. I'll be the first to admit that I wasn't a fan of mid-card title for the women on the main roster, due to that being too many titles. But it's the way WWE is booking it. I'm all for it now. And I think that's a great thing. I think now what we're seeing in WWE specifically is just more patience with the booking, more patience for the storylines. Not everything needs to be rushed. And I think that's a great thing. We're actually seeing across the board too, but I think specifically in WWE, it's becoming more visible. And maybe it's become more visible because of what it was before was the exact polar opposite. I don't know. But right now, with that success of the Bloodline storyline, with the success of CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, even Cody Rhodes' story being told, among other things, even Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan to an extent, we're seeing a lot more patience with your storylines and with the bookings. Now, is everything perfect? Never is. Just go on Twitter or X, and you'll hear it from them, because that's where you really need to get the scoops, people. But I just think it's going to be an absolute fantastic thing to see down the road, kind of how it makes everything better and gives us those fresh matchups, elevates talent. And the best part is we're going to see more number 1 contender matches. What we're going to see is more feuds be over the title, with not necessarily the title being the focal point. It could just be the road towards the championship. So yeah, it's going to be a great thing. And then especially now when you mix the mid-card championships with the tag titles that matter again, thank God, and your championships, then you bring down the Royal Rumble, and then you bring down the Queen of the Ring. All of a sudden now you got so many, and the Money in the Bank briefcase as well. Now you have reasons to have invested storylines, invested roads for everyone all year around. Bobby Stats is coming in saying NXT Twitter announced that it will be announcing Iron Survivor qualifying matches today. Well, that is very interesting. Bobby, let me know who has already qualified, as I'm sure you know, because I am not exactly aware of the developments of that right now. I've been so just consumed with this U.S. women's title that I had to talk about it for 2 weeks in a row because I really wanted to talk about it. So let me know who has already qualified, and if by chance those announcements are done throughout the recording of the show, let me know as soon as you can, if you don't mind, and I appreciate that. But yeah, that's just not all what we have on this show, because we're getting a lot more development within WarGames. Case in point, the Bloodline versus Bloodline. We were told on Monday that it's a 5-on-5, not a 4-on-4. So, who are the 5th men? We found out on SmackDown that Solo Sikoa has Bronson Reed as its 5th man. So, what do you guys think about that? Because all we know is that now sort of that kind of makes us assume that Seth Rollins is going to be that guy for the Roman team. But at the end of SmackDown, we saw Roman Reigns go and make that call to the wise man, Paul Heyman. And we saw that Paul Heyman's phone number was disconnected, as there was no answer from the wise man and a very confused face from the OTC Roman Reigns. Bobby Stats is coming in saying, so far, Sol Ruca for the women's, she beat Cora Jade, and for the men's, Wesley, who beat Cedric Alexander, and Javion Evans, who beat Lexis King to qualify for the matches at NXT Deadline. Interesting. Sol Ruca is my pick to win. I think when we talk about people that need to move up, Sol Ruca, I think, is that person I'm ready to see more from. But yeah, Paul Heyman now back in the fold storyline-wise. We're hearing his name. We had the acknowledgement, pun intended, by Roman Reigns, knowing that he had to call the wise man to help the quest of finding that fifth man. So who do you guys think it's going to be? If it's not Seth Rollins, let me know. Because I think right now the consensus is that Seth freaking Rollins is going to be the one opposing the bloodline of Solo Sikoa, Tonga Loa, Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu, and now Big Bronson Reed. So, yeah. Going to be a very intriguing at the very least, but I don't know. It's going to be it's going to be a very intriguing thing because we only have one more week of shows, really. Because, I guess we technically have two, but yeah, we got Raw just tomorrow, and then on the 25th, and then we have two SmackDowns. But really, 4 shows just to kind of get us into that storyline. But yeah. And then also we're getting a lot more development on the women's WarGames as we're getting Bobby. Yes, it is nice to see Shinsuke Nakamura back, and I will get to that down in just a second. But it looks to me like the women's WarGames match is kind of starting to close in on, and that is Liv and Raquel with Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, and I think it's going to be Candice LeRae taking on the team of Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, obviously Io Sky. If you saw the spoilers on Monday, you know. But I'll just kind of keep that on order. But also Naomi as well. And we're kind of seeing Bayley kind of being circled around. I personally would prefer Bayley to be in that spot, but that's just me. I think it's going to be very much a wide open thing. Another name that I wouldn't be against would be a returning Becky Lynch, if by chance what we see on the roster isn't for sure. But with Survivor Series being in Vancouver, Becky Lynch, who a lot of people don't know, did get an early start in her independent career in Vancouver in that British Columbia thing. I don't know. For me, it'd be a nice little touch as well. But right now, we're getting kind of the women's WarGames match being finalized. Everything's kind of working its way in. Again, we have 4 more opportunities with the 2 Raws, 2 SmackDowns to get us that much more invested. But if you were booking the women's WarGames match, who wins and what is the big storyline that you're taking away from this? I think what we see is Tiffany Stratton betrays Nia Jax. To me, that would be the big storyline coming out of Survivor Series. Not necessarily a cash-in, but we see Tiffany Stratton cost Nia Jax the win and walks off from her team. So, yeah, I don't know. Let me know. And then we have Damian Priest versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. That was announced after Damian Priest won the Fatal 4-Way to become #1 contender. So that's going to be basically the rematch from SummerSlam. And I think this is just one of those things where I don't think Damian Priest is going to win back the championship. I honestly think Gunther's going to retain his title and then probably go on to start a program with potentially the returning CM Punk. And I think that's going to be your World Heavyweight title match at the Royal Rumble. And then you can fill out maybe the rest of the card, one possibly being a United States Championship match. As Bobby Stats said earlier, Shinsuke Nakamura returning to SmackDown as he took down LA Knight after LA Knight retained his United States Championship. Very excited to see Shinsuke Nakamura back and now kind of being known as kind of with a new nickname here. But at the end of the day, Shinsuke Nakamura is now that fresh face in that title picture, and I think it's very, very much needed because LA Knight has been on such a tear with that championship that it almost seems like he is running through the competition at the moment. So seeing a fresh face like Nakamura maybe brings in that different opponent, gives it a fresh feel. But I think if you had this match, say, on Saturday night's main event, I think I would look at leaning into putting that title on Shinsuke Nakamura and then having LA Knight possibly reclaim that championship, say again, at the Royal Rumble or something along those lines. But yeah, I think just giving the United States Championship kind of title picture right now a little bit more intrigue, I think, is needed. Because right now, I don't want to say it's getting stale, but it's not the most interesting part of the show right now. And I think there's room to allow that to be a little bit more, just a little bit more intriguing. And I think right now it has, I don't think any fault on anybody. I think right now there's just no storylines involving it. So hopefully LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura is going to be that storyline that helps us bring back multiple eyes on the championship, because the triple threat with just like Crown Jewel with Carmelo Hayes and Andrade was fantastic, and I think that is just something you needed to build on. So hopefully this feud, hopefully upcoming feud with Shinsuke Nakamura is something that can do, but it's going to be a lot of fun. What are your guys' thoughts about Shinsuke Nakamura not only being back, but one of the issues kind of with him is until he kind of did those backstage promos in Japanese, especially with Cody Rhodes, there's been a lot of, I don't want to say language barrier because I don't think it's necessarily that, but I think the disconnect from understanding him from the promo end was always a concern. Do you think Shinsuke Nakamura needs a manager or a mouthpiece or something along that line? We saw Sami Zayn be that in the past when Shinsuke was Intercontinental Champion. In fact, Shinsuke was the one who ushered in the current Intercontinental Championship design as Sami Zayn presented it to him while he was champion. So does Shinsuke Nakamura need that mouthpiece? Because at that time, that Intercontinental Championship reign for Shinsuke was very good. So I'm going to post the question out to everyone as we have Sydney Steele and Kristen Hink coming in on the Instagram. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining the show. Talking a little bit of Shinsuke Nakamura right now, whether or not you think a mouthpiece is needed for him. So, yeah. I'm not totally sure who I would necessarily pick or have, but I'm just curious if, more people feel the same way. So, yeah. Let me know. What I'm going to take right now is just a little bit of a break, and I'm going to show you guys what you can find upcoming for the Turnbuckle Studios as we move on to the next topic at hand. So sit back, restock your Rogue Energy. Yeah, because I know that's exactly what you're drinking, right? Because you used the code word Perish. Yeah, I thought so. But sit back, enjoy this, and we'll be right back.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. All times are in Eastern Time. Monday nights you get the Locker Room Breakdown at 7 p.m., followed by the Raw Patrol at 8 p.m. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Wednesday we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Thursday we get a variety stream with the Boar's Nest at 8 p.m. Friday we game again with Unleashed, the Jessica Wilde story at 7 p.m. Following the game, join us for the SmackDown Security Detail at 8 p.m. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. On Sunday be sure to catch the Chris Perish podcast at 12:15 p.m. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day.
And that is all you can see over on the Turnbuckle Studios. Again, that video was brought to you by the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program, which, again, if you want to join and be introduced to podcasting, to streaming, or you want to do that while joining the likes of everyone involved in Turnbuckle Studios, who is proud sponsor of the Sault Ste. Marie Canadian Wrestling Elite shows, make sure you're hitting up affiliationprogram.my.canva.site. And it's just that simple, because one day, who knows, your logo, your show, all that good stuff could be added to that calendar, and we be collaborating together, and that is what this is all about. It's about a healthy relationship and a collab here, because it's a lot of fun to do so. Also, I just want to take a shout out and thank everyone who took the time to not only watch but support the interview I did with Kamikaze. We have been chatting a little bit about it, and I know he had an article in the Slam Wrestling magazine, and very proud, very happy for him. So if you have a chance, rewatch that if you haven't already, but go check it out, because Kamikaze is definitely somebody on the up and ups in the local wrestling scene. As we have Astra Bizarro coming in. Thank you so much. Hello to you as well. How are you doing? We have briefly talked about Shinsuke Nakamura, spent about 20 minutes talking about the United States Women's Championship and a little bit about WarGames Survivor Series leading into that as well. And it's just a lot of exciting things just coming out of the WWE right now, as we are moving closer and closer to that Survivor Series date, just less than 2 weeks away. Bobby Seth's coming in saying, I did see that NXT Twitter will announce qualifying matches after your show. I will send you the matches on Instagram. I appreciate that. I'll also make sure that I check it out as well. Now, Bobby, you're bringing that up. Who do we want to see? Because I know with Andre C in the house, Ashford now coming in. If you want to check out an NXT show, go check out Taking Over on Tuesday nights. But make sure that you're watching NXT, because if you're not, you're missing out on some great wrestling. You're talking about Iron Survivor qualifiers. Who do you want to see qualified for that matchup? Because, as you said, Sol Ruka already qualified, and we already have Wesley and Javion Evans qualified. Who are some of the people you'd like to see qualified just in both matches? Because I believe this is the third Iron Survivor match or year that they're doing the match. I feel that this is a very good concept, and it really helps establish NXT as something different, especially now that WarGames was taken away from NXT, put onto the main roster. This gives an identity to NXT, and I really think that is cool, especially when it's something different and something developing, like the idea of NXT in a nutshell. And Bobby coming in saying Miss Jada Parker for the women's and Oba Femi for men. Yeah, I'd 100% agree with you with Oba Femi for the men's. I think that is who I'd like to see. And then Bobby, you're coming in saying and Jordan Grace would be nice too. I think Jordan Grace would add star power 100% to this match, and I do think that's a good thing. In fact, having somebody like Jordan Grace and Sol Ruka in a match, I think would give you a very intriguing outlook, because who knows, that could be a matchup we see down the road. I know that there are a lot of rumors and a lot of speculation that Jordan Grace is expected to sign with the WWE once her contract ends with TNA. Who knows? I'm not one to tell or say that's going to happen or not. I don't have that information. I hope it's true. I would love to see that because I think Jordan Grace would be a juggernaut, pun intended, to the women's division for not just NXT, but in the future, Raw and SmackDown, because who doesn't want to see Rhea Ripley against Jordan Grace at some point? Who doesn't want to see Jordan Grace against Piper Niven at some point? Who doesn't want to see Jordan Grace against Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill at some point? And then how could I forget Stephanie Bakir, Julia, Zarya? Those, come on now, people. This would be just an absolute home run of an addition for the WWE if that was the case. But yeah, no, back to your point about Jordan Grace potentially being someone in the match. Yeah. Anybody versus Lyra Valkyria, yeah, I'd be okay with, Bobby. I think we all know that by now. In fact, if WWE does bring out a women's Intercontinental Championship, look no further than Lyra Valkyria as a potential winner of that, if you ask me. I think that would be a wonderful decision. Very impressive in her Queen of the Ring tournament showcase. And I think the Raw women right now need that third hour back more than anybody, because when you see the likes of just the KCs with the tag team division, they're kind of going down, whether it's Lyra on the Raw side, whether it's Natalya, whether it's even Zelina Vega to an extent, even though we are seeing her a lot with the LWO and kind of the American-made storyline. So I don't know if she's necessarily losing a lot of TV time, but it's definitely the others for sure, among more. So Sonya Deville, yeah, everyone, even there. Zoe Starks and Shayna Baszler as well. So just a lot of people badly needing that third hour back. And you know what? We'll probably see a lot more attention after Survivor Series and after Saturday night's main event, because I think that'll be a focus, especially if my earlier prediction was correct, and that is WWE introducing a women's Intercontinental title after crowning a U.S. champion. I think that would really go a lot of ways. Plus, there's been a lot of rumors and speculation that Becky Lynch will be back in WWE by the Raw on Netflix in 2025. I think Becky Lynch going after that Intercontinental Championship, if that is a thing, would help not just the star power, but really help people like Sonya, like Lyra. If they were able to defeat somebody like Becky Lynch to be champion, it really puts a little bit more oomph on that claim and that achievement, because it's one thing when you win a championship, it's one thing when you win the inaugural championship, but when you beat somebody, the star power of Becky Lynch, who's main evented a WrestleMania, who has been compared as the female Stone Cold, especially when she had that bloody nose image, I think that says a lot. And with the success that Becky Lynch has had, getting a win in that kind of a situation really is a cherry on top, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, I think another person I'd like to see in that Iron Survivor match is a Kalani Jordan. I think her stock has definitely raised a lot after that run as North American champion. I think the inclusion to her in that tag match, and I also know, and I just think having her in that like ring with people like Jordan Grace, people like Stephanie Vecchio, people like Julia, like names that the company are high on, and it's just being associated with that, like because wrestling is a very, very large association type thing, whether it's guilty by association or if you're just part of a successful group. Like look how much people like JC Jane and Gigi Dolan, how much of their stocks rose because of how popular Toxic Attraction was. It was mainly Mandy Rose who like really raised her stock the most in that. But you also saw Gigi Dolan and JC Jane really step up as that tag team, especially as tag team champions. And then now with JC Jane kind of in that Fatal Influence, I'm sure I think that's the name. Could be wrong. But yeah, and then we're seeing the rise of Fallon Henley as a heel. And Fallon Henley was kind of up and down when she was with Brooks and Jensen. But now that she's kind of in that heel form on her own in a faction, now a champion, she's the next one in my eyes who I think can become a real major player on NXT. So if NXT women get called up in 2025, I look at people like Lonnie Jordan. I look at people like Sol Ruka. I look at people like Fallon Henley, and someone I don't think people need to or should be sleeping on, Lola Vice, as people to step up in that situation. Lola Vice is another person I would love to see in that Iron Survivor match. So Bobby coming in saying Ethan Page. Yes, I think Ethan Page would be very intriguing in this. Plus, who doesn't want to see Ethan Page be sent to the penalty box at some point in that match? Because it would be entertaining, to say the very least. I think another person I would like to see is Shawn Spears in that match. I'm very intrigued with Shawn Spears so far. I think that could be someone of I think that's someone that I want to see a championship on sooner rather than later, especially with kind of not just what he's doing, but how methodical the things he's doing are. It seems like everything he's doing right now is for a specific reason. And I think right now we don't know yet what his major goal is yet, but I think if you give it time, it's going to pan out. Shawn Spears would be great as an NXT North American Championship. Yes, but I like Shawn Spears as the guy that takes the NXT title away from Trick Williams. I'll one up you on that one, because the person who beats Tony D'Angelo as United States champion, maybe Ridge Holland. Because having Tony's family go up against Shawn Spears in his group, I'm just putting something out there. But Bobby, it could be yours too. It's all opinionated, right? Nobody's wrong, nobody is right. We're just chatting wrestling, no matter what the situation is. So it's great that we all can do that. It's great that we can just come on here and we can put ideas back and forth, because who knows? Because wrestling has this a beautiful art about it where they can do something completely different than what we talk about. And then next week, we're excitedly talking about that now, right? Like, I think that's what's amazing about wrestling today, is that I can have an opinion, you can have a different opinion, but the show itself has a completely different opinion. And then we eat it up because it's good, it's fun, it's intriguing, because we care about it. They get us emotionally invested. And at the end of the day, we're now getting to talk about that and recycle that thought process about, hey, are they going to do this next? No. You want to see that? Oh, okay. But then we watch it and then do something else. They just hook, line, and sinker the whole time. That's who doesn't love that, right? That's television. But yeah, I think no matter what, Obafemi for me definitely is the person to win the men's. I think for the women's right now, I want to go with a dark horse, so I'm going to go with Lola Vice winning the Iron Survivor match for the women's. I mean, we could say that. I don't know why, but in my head when I read this, I'm just doing Tony the Tiger. And I'm like, yeah, it's great. I don't know why. But, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. I didn't have Frosted Flakes this morning. I haven't eaten yet today, actually, so I have no idea. I haven't had Frosted Flakes. Frosted Flakes. Wow. I don't know how to speak, apparently. But yeah. Bobby, thank you. I'm rooting for Soroka in the women's Iron Survivor match and Obafemi for the men's Iron Survivor match. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Soroka. I think she has nothing but loads of potential. And I think that, when people say sky's the limit, I get the reference. It's weird, but yeah, I mean, she's someone who I think not only can, if the sky's the limit, I think she's going to go beyond the sky. So I think that just shows you how much I think what she's capable of doing. What she's able to do in the ring is phenomenal. And I would love to see that done in a Royal Rumble, done at a WrestleMania, done on a bigger stage. I think she's going to be a star, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see. Hopefully she can stay healthy, because I think it was something a lot like Ricochet when he was in WWE. He could do like so many amazing things, but doing it how many times on the road, staying healthy, that was what's going to really be something that I was like concerned if he was going to still be able to be Ricochet years down the road. And he was, and he is still. So thank God for that, because the last thing we want to see is somebody get so injured or so beat up that they're unable to do what made them stand out in the first place. And that's something with Soroka, that her athleticism and her abilities in the ring are just so natural and so amazing, because take her, and who wouldn't want to see her go up against somebody like Charlotte? Because I think Charlotte would be a great counterpoint, a great villain for a Soroka down the road. And I think that'd be a very good pairing. So, yeah. So, talking a little NXT Deadline, Iron Survivor. We talked some Survivor Series, WarGames, and we're talking Women's United States Championships. I think that is a great way to kind of close off the show for today. Obviously, next week, we're going to come back with a lot more. Next week is a very monumental week because it's episode 52. And if people aren't aware, 52 weeks are in a year. And that would mean the Chris Perish podcast is a year old. So I just want to take this time to say thank you to every single one of you who has taken the time to support the Chris Perish podcast, because without you, without your support, and without your loyalty, I could not do this. So thank you to everyone. As Chris Old, thank you for saying what was a great hour. I appreciate that. I really do. I'm very happy that not only am I able to stream on all these platforms, I'm able to stream on my X account, I'm able to stream on Instagram Live, I'm able to reach out and do all this on so many different platforms, but just very appreciative of where we started, where we are now. Thank you. obviously, for a lot of people who know me, the last year and a half had a lot of trials, a lot of tribulations, but a lot of great successes as well. So from the bottom of my heart, I say thank you. I appreciate you. And I will see you again next Sunday, where on the X account, on the Instagram Live, the Facebook, the Twitch, the YouTube. You can check out episode 52 of the Chris Perish podcast, where I have no idea what I'm going to talk about, but I know we're going to have fun. I appreciate that. And for the meantime, make sure that you guys stay happy, stay excited, be yourselves, and as always, go Saints. Take care. See you next week.